Welcome, everyone. As you can see, we have a few extra folks here today. Welcome to our reception room. I'm pleased to be joined by Lieutenant Governor Kristen Juras. I'd also like to say the Lieutenant Governor doesn't just cut ribbons, she cuts red tape. And that's what we're here to celebrate today. And we're going to be doing both today, both ribbons and red tape. I'm also glad to be joined by some industry leaders who have really been on the forefront of this effort. Rayleigh Honeycutt with the Montana Stockgrowers Association, Todd O'Hare with the Montana Chamber of Commerce, and David Smith with the Montana Contractors Association. Thank you all for being here. We're also joined by agency directors and many of the employees who worked on these red tape relief efforts. They really invested so much time and effort going through every single line of code in every agency. Really a tremendous piece of work. Not all the state employees that were involved in this effort are here today, but I want to recognize all their efforts. They spent many, many, many hours going through all this code. Let's give them a round of applause. And we wouldn't be here today without our partners in the legislature. Thank you all. Representatives and senators who share our commitment for cutting red tape. All told, 84 legislators carried over 180 red tape relief bills. And I've already signed over 100 of them into law. And I understand there's more coming, quite a few more. So I'm looking forward to those. These legislators have really been on the front lines with the Lieutenant Governor and our agencies championing these reforms that are going to make it better for Montanans and simplifying our regulations. Let's give these legislators a hand. Together, we're making government more efficient and responsive. Together, we're opening the doors of greater opportunity that have been shut by red tape. These have been our priorities since day one. Putting customer service first across all of state government so that we can better serve our customers, the people of Montana, creating greater opportunity for all Montanans, and helping more Montanans achieve the American dream. That's why I created the Red Tape Relief Task Force on my second day in office. It was led by Lieutenant Governor Juras, who left no stone unturned. They've gone through all of our code, line by line, to reform, roll back, and repeal burdensome and outdated, unnecessary regulations, and they've done a tremendous job. They've worked with industry stakeholders and incorporated widespread public input. They've brought together diverse bipartisan groups from both public and private sectors, and they've dug deep and led the way to find where friction exists between state agencies and the citizens of Montana where it doesn't need to be there. And then they developed solutions, built consensus around these proposals, and have forged a path forward for this legislative session. Ultimately, they did it for you, the people of Montana. For too long, government red tape has been a hindrance and a wet blanket on job creation. It's made government less efficient, and it's cost taxpayers dollars. Enough is enough. That's why we acted. We're changing the status quo, and the change agent has been our Lieutenant Governor. Please join me in giving her a round of applause. Oh, and thank you so much. Would you like to make some comments?
Well, welcome, everybody. I've been looking forward to this day for a long time. And Governor, I just want to thank you for your support and for making this a priority of your administration. And the agencies were actually excited about this, and they joined us in making a priority. And of course, we couldn't have done it without our stakeholders who were engaged throughout the process, as well as our legislators. It's been 2 years now since we really seriously started going after this. We began asking the agencies to look at their internal policies, what can they do better, and immediately had some huge successes. Director Castor moved our online bidding for oil and gas leases on state trust lands to from having to be here in person to an online process, which increased the number of bids and, more importantly, the money generated for our school children through the state trust lands. FWP started doing our online licensing apps, and DEQ formed a model, a team approach to start reaching out and working with its clients and regulated industries. And then we also looked at each and every one of our 15,000 regulations, identifying the problems, where can we improve service and be less burdensome while still protecting our citizens and the environment. And hundreds of regulations have been either repealed or modified and streamlined. And I'm just going to give you the impact of one. We flipped the ratio for apprenticeships from 2 journeymen for each apprentice to 1 journeyman being able to supervise 2 apprentices, and that had an incredible and immediate impact on bringing more apprentices into the program to help address our workforce shortages. And then finally, we turned to our statutes that we all live with, reaching out again to stakeholders, to legislators, and the result is what we're here to celebrate today. Over 180 bills, as you mentioned, 106 have been signed. Most of the rest are on our way. Whew. This has been a marathon, not a sprint, and it will continue. So we're not done yet. As soon as the legislators go home soon, we're going to, with the agencies and stakeholders, prepare for our second round, because there's still some red tape out there that needs cutting. So thank you all for your support in this, working with us through this, and we really do have a lot to celebrate today. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor, and thank you for your leadership. You've really done a tremendous job. Through red tape relief, we're accomplishing 3 main goals. 1, simplifying and modernizing the Montana Code. 2, making government more efficient to better serve Montanans. And 3, creating greater opportunity for Montanans. But what does red tape relief look like? Well, I've got a couple of examples. To support Montana producers, I signed a bill last month by Representative Lear to expand online and video livestock auctions. Montana law should not stand in the way of our farmers and ranchers succeeding in today's economy. The internet is a real thing, and I don't think it's going away. So this was a common sense fix, and we got it done. We're also making government more efficient to serve taxpayers and right-size state government. Today, I signed a bill by Senator Manzella to remove red tape from procurement at the Department of Transportation. With less red tape, the state will be able to complete necessary projects like repairing roads and bridges, something government should be doing, more quickly and for less money. Under this new bill, we'll be able to expand the use of innovative contracting methods authorized in this bill, and that'll save taxpayers money and allow us to get more work done. It's just common sense. Thank you for your help, Senator. And by cutting red tape, we're creating greater opportunities for more Montanans to prosper. Take the law that only permitted 2 college campuses to obtain academic brewing licenses. Why wouldn't we allow every college to train students? So there was no reason for that. So working with Representative Fitzgerald, we changed the law. I could go on and on. There are hundreds of these things that we've done. But the long and short of it is this. Red tape relief makes real, meaningful difference, and it will for the people of Montana. It makes a difference for farmers and ranchers, for Main Street businesses and hardworking employees, for apprentices in the trades working towards a good paying career, for builders working to increase the supply of housing and build a stronger Montana, for restaurant owners to add vibrancy to our communities and to create jobs, for manufacturers and truckers who drive our economy forward. But just don't take my word for it. The folks beside me here and the Lieutenant Governor represent thousands of Montana families throughout the state who benefit from red tape relief. Ray Lee, would you like to say a little bit on behalf of the stock growers?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Governor. The Montana Stock Growers Association would first like to thank you, Governor, and your administration for initiating the red tape tax relief and for your leadership. Agriculture is Montana's #1 industry, and Montana cattle ranchers are the backbone of rural communities and the economy. The work the administration has done to eliminate barriers for our business will not only have impacts here in Helena as to how business is done, but will profoundly impact the lives and businesses of the livestock industry. And at the end of the day, it'll take less time, less money, and less resources from ranch families to respond to things, and will allow for hard-earned dollars to be invested back into the businesses, our land, and our communities. Since 1884, the Montana Stock Growers Association has been dedicated to finding proactive solutions for challenges that our industry faces, and this red tape release task force and review delivers those solutions and those results that our industry is always looking for. We've modernized language, as the Governor mentioned, related to cattle markets and how commerce is done within our state. We've eliminated barriers as simple as eliminating barriers to hard copied paperwork so that we can allow for digital technology to catch up to industry needs. And we've streamlined water application processes from 360 days to 105 days to ensure permit processes are not holding up business. So again, thank you, Governor Gianforte, for your vision. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor, for your leadership, to the agency directors and their staff for encouraging and working closely with stakeholders, and for the bill sponsors for getting it through the legislative process. We thank you for your work, and we look forward to the impacts and regulatory relief that our state has to come. Thank you.
Next up, David Smith with the Montana Contractors Association. David?
Thank you, Governor and Lieutenant Governor. In the construction world, we are very familiar with yellow tape. It's caution tape. It tells you to slow down, be careful, there might be some danger ahead. But then there's red tape that says, stop, don't go any further, there's very large danger ahead. As the Governor mentioned, Senate Bill 57 allows the Department of Transportation to do alternative contract delivery. And by alternative, just in the name, you've started off the right track by saying we'll do different things. This process can consolidate projects under one contract, which makes them more efficient and saves taxpayers money. Instead of bidding out a project on 1 or 2 bridges, a project could be bid out for 10 to 12 bridges. Thank you, Senator Manzella, for sponsoring that bill. But it's important to note that we're not just talking about policy changes. DEQ has become more collaborative in finding solutions and listening to stakeholders. Architecture and engineering continues to perform efficiently. And the Department of Labor and Industry, as was mentioned, changed the apprenticeship ratio to open the door to hundreds of people who are interested in earning high wages and experience the pride of working in the trades. We know this is working because since February of 2020, there are over 5,000 people more employed in the construction trades in Montana than there were then. So these behavioral changes start at the top. Governor and Lieutenant Governor, you're not only cutting red tape, you're cutting yellow caution tape as well. We appreciate that. So thank you for this initiative to make Montana open for business.
Thank you, David. And finally, President and CEO of Montana Chamber of Commerce, Todd O'Hare.
Thank you, Governor. My name is Todd O'Hare, and I'm the president and CEO of the Montana Chamber of Commerce. And the Montana Chamber of Commerce is the state's largest business advocacy organization. We represent sole proprietors to publicly traded companies in business sectors that include agriculture and traditional natural resources, and manufacturing and high tech. And in 2016, after a 2-year process of working with business leaders around the state of Montana, the Montana Chamber of Commerce unveiled a strategic plan that was driven by business leaders' desire to get an economy in Montana that we as Montanans deserve. And they told us to focus on 4 main areas: general business climate, infrastructure, workforce development, and entrepreneurship. Regulations and regulatory reform is one of the components under general business climate. But I think it's also important to note that this regulatory reform that we see applies to each one of the strategic pillars that we have that we're focused on, from an entrepreneurship, from a workforce development, from an infrastructure, and from a general business climate perspective. And so we're very excited, and we've loved working with Lieutenant Governor Juris throughout this entire process. We thank the governor for his leadership. I want to also thank the legislative body for your support and your leadership in bringing this thing forward, or these set of regulations, a reform forward. And we believe that these are important foundational steps to give us, the state of Montana, an economy that we actually deserve. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you. Thank you, Todd. And thank you all for being here and supporting the Lieutenant Governor and myself through this whole process. The benefits of red tape relief are clear. And the good news is we still have some great bills to sign. Some of them are stacked right there. So without any more ado, let's cut some red tape. If the Lieutenant Governor, our speakers, and all the legislators who are in the room want to join us up here, I'll sign these 10 bills.
Crowdy, come on.
There you go. Okay, first up, House Bill 117. This helps address teacher shortages here in Montana by allowing more retired teachers or teachers on parental leave to be able to substitute in classrooms across the state. So it expands workforce in our schools. Thank you, Marta. This pen's for you. Next up, House Bill 159. This simplifies code by eliminating an inactive commission. What we found when we dug into red tape was we had commissions, some of which hadn't met in 10 years. We probably don't need them anymore. We're getting rid of this one.
Representative Kastner.
Yeah, Representative Kastner? Yep. House Bill 143 reduces the size of the Tourism Advisory Council to make it more efficient. And it also will save taxpayer money. Smaller boards are more effective. Some of these were unwieldy, so we're going to make it smaller. Representative Dooley, there you go. SB 57, this allows, we talked about this one already, this allows MDT to bundle bids and expands the use of progressive design build contracting. Senator Manzella. SB 43, Senator Curdy, modernizes how DNRC notifies stakeholders of timber sales. Senator, thank you for your leadership. you feel the burden getting lighter? HB 26 eliminates 4 unnecessary burdensome regulations relevant to trucking and agriculture. George? House Bill 266 simplifies code by eliminating a board that hasn't met in a decade. We could probably get rid of that one. HB 34 makes government more efficient by eliminating a duplicative process at DNRC for permit applicants. Representative Gibbs. HB 459 modernizes code to better serve Montanans whose land value is disproportionately higher than their home value. Representative Perry. Thank you for your work. There you go. Thank you. And the last one, we're actually going to cut some red tape.
I have been waiting for this moment.
Are you ready?
I am.
Lieutenant Governor? Yes. So this is HB 232 by Representative Mike Hopkins, allows the state to save taxpayer dollars on building leases.
Oh.
Great. Legislators would take a seat. We'll take a couple questions from the press, and we'll let you get back to work.
All right.
So again, thank you to all the legislators for your hard work on these bills. It's going to make a meaningful difference for Montanans. And we have a lot of people in the room today and some people with some very important work to do. So we don't want to, we're going to open up for some questions. We're going to limit to one per person just so everybody can get back to work. Who would like to go first? Jonathan.
Thank you, Governor Jonathan Manberry, Montana Television Network. I was curious if there's anything that you had as a priority in your red tape relief initiative that didn't get through in the way that you were hoping for. I know there was Representative Mercer's bill about licensing boards that got pretty substantial. I was wondering if there's anything else that maybe you didn't get in the form that you were hoping for.
Yeah, we're going to see the vast majority of these 188 bills. Again, I've signed over 100 into law. I think there's many more coming. There's still a little time on the clock. So I'm hopeful for HB 152. This was really a keystone bill in our red tape relief that allows for licensure reciprocity with other states to expand our healthcare workforce. That ran up on the rocks a little bit in the House. I think the Senate's looking at it, but I think it's really important we get that done. And again, I'd like to see them all on my desk. Next question. Okay. Anyone else have a question? Yes.
Yeah, Mark Silverson, Free Press. Anything about healthcare specifically and I guess mobilizing the healthcare industry a little bit more in Montana?
Yeah. Lieutenant Governor, do you want to speak to that?
Yes, I'm happy to. So House Bill 152 does improve licensing mobility to bring healthcare workers more quickly into the state, and there's some compacts also that are going through. That's an alternative pathway from direct licensing and reciprocity to get into the state, and we'll continue to work to make sure that our workforce shortages are addressed. Thank you.
And I would just add that one of the strategies we've had is to allow all healthcare professionals to practice across their entire scope of training. So I signed a bill into law yesterday which allows physicians' assistants to hang out a shingle. And again, they're restricted to what they've been trained for, but it's going to increase access, particularly in our rural communities, for access to healthcare. Other questions? Yes, online.
We have David.
Hi, David, go ahead.
Sure, take my question. Yeah, the minority leaders in the legislature say there hasn't been enough time to provide immediate affordable housing relief in Montana. How would you respond to that, and how do you feel in general about how the legislature is addressing what you said is Montana's number one problem?
Yeah, so David, you're right. I think affordable and attainable housing is probably the number one issue facing working families in Montana. I was pleased that we brought together a bipartisan group of legislators, stakeholders last year in our housing task force. There's a number of bills on their way to me. One of the key components of that has been the Homes Act, which is going to allow for us to provide for infrastructure for affordable housing. Again, there's still time left on the clock. I know a number of these housing reform bills are on their way to me. I look forward to considering them. I would just encourage the legislature, we'd like to see some version of that Homes Act back to us. It's a way we're going to expand housing. Okay, thank you very much. Less red tape.